The wild boar population in the United States is rapidly becoming a significant risk to agricultural production. They have a population of over 9 million people and are spread out across more than 30 states. Each year, they are responsible for an estimated $2.50 billion worth of damage. Wild boars are notoriously difficult to manage due to their versatile nature and the fact that they are most active at night. An incredible reproductive rate is one of the things that makes them even more concerning. A single female can give birth to anywhere from 6 to 12 piglets in a single litter, and she can do this twice a year. Farmers suffer significant financial losses as a result of their destruction of crops, digging up of fields, and damage to irrigation systems. Farmers in the United States have been left with no choice but to search for more efficient solutions in order to combat this growing threat. They have begun employing smart traps, which are technologically advanced devices that are outfitted with sensors, cameras, and the ability to be controlled remotely. Not only do these traps capture entire herds at once, but they also reduce the amount of risk and labor involved. This conflict is no longer a straightforward conflict between humans and wild animals. Rather, it is a confrontation between the intelligence of humans and the instincts of nature to survive. It is no longer necessary for American farmers to rely on luck in order to combat an adversary that is as numerous and as crafty as wild boars. Each and every square foot of land on the farm has been transformed into a meticulously planned and executed battlefield thanks to the introduction of technology. It is no longer the case that iron traps are crude. Rather, they are now a component of a precision weapon system that is accurate to the second. Cage traps and box traps are the two types that are most commonly used. Corn, sweet potatoes, and grains that have been fermented are enclosed within these gourmet treats, which no boar will be able to resist. Boars in the wild are one of the most intelligent animals. There is no occurrence of the traps being activated during the first 3 to 5 days. On the other hand, corn or fragrant fruits are dispersed at a predetermined location every evening. A feeling of security and trust is established as a result of the boar's persistence in returning to feed without being apprehended. The next step, which is to install the trap enclosure, is to wait until the herd has become accustomed to the bait territory. Additionally, once a boar has entered the building, a gentle touch on the pressure plate is all that is required. Immediately, the steel door slams shut, enclosing the animal in its confinement. At least 1.5 meters in height, these traps are constructed with reinforced steel frames, ensuring that there is no opportunity for escape. The use of drop net traps is the ideal solution for individuals who are more astute and cautious. These nets, which are concealed in the grass and are prepared to descend from the sky in a fraction of a second, have the ability to catch even the most evasive boars off guard. Corral-style traps shine large enclosures that can capture an entire group with a single guillotine-style door drop. These traps are ideal for use in regions that have large herds, herd animals. Farmers are able to monitor every movement from their mobile devices thanks to the integration of hidden surveillance cameras. A single tap is all it takes to set off the trap, regardless of whether they are at home, in their car, or out getting a cup of coffee. Some of these systems even use solar-powered batteries and 4G connections in order to function as selfie traps for wild boars that are operational around the clock. Do you believe that this high-tech setup is sufficient to outwit these masters of destruction who are able to travel on 4 legs? Post your thoughts in the comments section below. The United States of America's farmers have accomplished remarkable feats as a result of their utilization of high-tech strategies and intelligent traps. Millions of wild boars have been successfully captured in a relatively short period of time, which has resulted in a significant reduction in crop damage and has contributed to the restoration of the natural ecosystem. Farmers are no longer required to be concerned about unexpected raids in the middle of the night, and fields that were once completely destroyed have returned to their original state of greenness. As a result of strategic investments in trapping systems, surveillance technology, and close coordination between farmers and local authorities, states such as Texas and Oklahoma have evolved into leading examples in the field of wild boar control. This is not just a story about protecting crops. Rather, it is a demonstration of the adaptability and creativity of humans when confronted with one of the most dangerous invasive species in modern-day America. It is only when wild boars are brought under control that the land is truly returned to the control of the farmers. Potatoes, a crop that is considered to be lowly, are beginning to emerge silently but with great power in the revitalized soil. At first glance, a root may appear to be uncomplicated. However, when it is cultivated using the appropriate methods, it transforms into real gold beneath the ground. Potatoes, despite the fact that they may appear to be straightforward, necessitate that farmers begin with the most fundamental step, which is to establish the most favorable living conditions for the plant. First, there is the soil, which needs to be loose, have good drainage, and have a pH that is neutral. When the soil is overly acidic or compacted, the tubers will not develop properly or will rot before they even have a chance to form. Extreme heat or extreme cold are not conducive to the growth of potatoes. Temperatures between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius are ideal for their growth, and they thrive in relatively cool environments. The planting season varies from region to region. Some regions choose to plant in the spring, while others choose to plant in the fall in order to avoid conditions such as frost or drought. At the appropriate moment, farmers will begin the process of preparing the soil by first loosening it and then applying either organic or chemical fertilizers in order to enrich it. In areas with a low elevation, they create raised beds, while in areas with a higher elevation, they dig furrows. The selection of seed potatoes is also very important. Disease-resistant varieties that have firm, intact skins and uniform shapes are given priority throughout the selection process. Once the potatoes are planted in the soil, they will grow more quickly if they have sprouts that are between 2 and 3 centimeters in length. Every plant should be 25 to 30 centimeters apart from the next, and rows should be spaced 60 to 75 centimeters apart. Proper spacing is essential when planting. Both dryness and waterlogging should be avoided by watering the plant on a consistent basis after it has been planted. On the other hand, it is of the utmost importance to make sure that common diseases like blight, tuber rot, and aphids are both monitored and prevented. Plants of potatoes will show consistent growth and produce a high yield if they are given the appropriate care. When potato plants reach the end of their growth cycle, the signs that indicate it is time to harvest become more and more obvious. Upon inspection, the tubers have reached their full size, the leaves have turned yellow and begun to wilt, and the stems have begun to dry out significantly. This is the optimal time for harvesting, which typically occurs between 70 and 120 days after planting, depending on the variety and the characteristics of the growing conditions. It is possible to minimize the amount of time and labor required for harvesting on large-scale farms by utilizing specialized machinery. To harvest tubers, farmers typically harvest them by hand using hoses or shovels, taking care not to scratch or break the tubers. This method is typically used for smaller operations. After being removed from the ground, the potatoes should be allowed to air dry or lightly cured in the shade for a few days and then stored. As a result, the outer skin is dried out and the shelf life of the fruits is increased after harvest. Feel free to leave a 0 in the comments section if you have any inquiries. The sorting process for potatoes begins once they have been harvested and lightly dried. The potatoes are then transported to processing facilities to begin the process. A computerized inspection system is responsible for the careful and effective handling of each potato in this location. It is imperative that tubers that are infested, cracked, soft, or show signs of spoilage be removed without delay in order to guarantee that the entire batch is up to the required quality standards. After that, potatoes are sorted according to a variety of criteria, including size, weight, and color. Generally speaking, the potatoes that are prioritized for export or high-end industrial processing are those that are uniformly large and have smooth skins. Smaller potatoes, which still meet quality requirements, can be used for the domestic market or pre-processed as food ingredients. This is because smaller potatoes are cheaper. This sorting process not only increases the efficiency of the processing, but it also guarantees that the final product is consistent. This is an especially important factor in exports and production operations that are conducted in accordance with international standards. After the potatoes have been sorted, they move on to the deep processing stage, which is where high-value products are produced. Frozen French fries are the most common type, and they are utilized extensively in the fast food industry. In addition, potato snacks that come in a wide range of flavors are among the most popular products on the market. Potatoes are also utilized in the production of starch, which is found in a variety of applications, including those in the food and industrial sectors. In order to cater to a wide range of consumer requirements and to encourage the consumption of health-conscious options, certain nations even process potatoes into alcohol or nutritional powder. When it comes to the development of agricultural products with added value, this is an encouraging direction to investigate. Depending on the conditions of care and the environment, they will reach maturity after approximately 6 to 12 months of farming on average. It is possible for farmers to start the harvesting process once the crops have reached the standard size. The shells of mature snails are typically quite rigid and measure approximately 1 to 2 inches in diameter. In order to spare the shells any damage, the harvesting process must be carried out with extreme caution. Before being put up for sale on the market, the snails are first cleaned and processed after they have been harvested. A dish that has been around for a long time and is well known throughout France, particularly in the Burgundy region, is called escargots de Bourgogne. The Helix permacia snail is featured in this dish. In order to get it ready, you should begin by making the garlic butter sauce. To begin, chop the garlic and onion into very small pieces. In order to create a flavorful dish, the next step is to chop fresh parsley and combine it with butter that has been softened. After that, add a pinch of salt, pepper, and white wine. As soon as the sauce is ready, proceed to bring the snails to a boil, after which you should remove them and allow them to slightly cool down. Finally, place each snail into its shell or a baking dish and generously drizzle the garlic butter sauce over the top. Make sure that each snail is evenly coated with the sauce so that the butter and garlic can infuse into the snails. Do you have any experience with this dish? You can tell me in the comments section below. In many countries, particularly France, snails are a popular choice for upscale dining establishments because they are considered to be a gourmet food. In international markets, the price of snails typically ranges from $5 to $10 per pound. However, the price of snails might be higher or lower depending on the market. It is possible for prices to be higher in certain European countries because of the high demand and the limited supply thereof. If you believe that they are too expensive, feel free to leave a 0. In recent years, France has emerged as a world-renowned kingdom in the cosmetics industry, particularly for its ability to extract and manufacture products from snail mucus. After the snails have been harvested, they are placed in specialized incubators, where the temperature and humidity are carefully monitored to ensure that the snails are in a comfortable environment. Mucus is secreted by the snails as a result of this process, which involves soothing stimulation. Particularly noteworthy is the fact that this process does not cause any harm to the snails, which enables them to continue living and producing mucus for future harvests. This humane approach is essential for the industry because it reduces the adverse effects on the environment and helps to preserve resources. The filtration and purification processes are carried out on the mucus that is obtained from the snails. The removal of impurities, bacteria, and other undesirable components takes place during this stage in order to preserve the beneficial active compounds. The collagen found in snail mucus is one of the most important components of snail mucus. Collagen is well known for its ability to regenerate skin and reduce the appearance of scars and wrinkles. Not only does the mucus contain collagen, but it also contains antioxidants, glycoproteins, and hyaluronic acid, all of which contribute to the enhancement of the skin's elasticity and hydration. It is possible for the price of a single item to range anywhere from several dozen to several $100s, depending on the amount of mucus that is contained in each product and the manufacturing process. Especially serums and anti-aging creams, products that contain a high concentration of snail mucus, are typically sold for between $100 and $300 per bottle in the high-end market segment.